Federal agents jumped out of an unmarked van near a Home Depot parking lot. They began grabbing people. A U.S. citizen, 9 months pregnant, was arrested. Tear gas, flashbang grenades, rubber bullets. Federal agents detaining people and undermining their due process rights.
I've got a few clips of Gavin Newsom sounding off on Donald Trump and his corrupt administration and their dealings in California. So if you can, take a moment, leave us a like on the video. It lets us know you enjoy the content, gives us a huge boost in the algorithm, and let's jump right into the discussion.
On Saturday morning, when federal agents jumped out of an unmarked van near a Home Depot parking lot, they began grabbing people, a deliberate targeting of a heavily Latino suburb. A similar scene played out when a clothing company was raided downtown. In other actions, a U.S. citizen, 9 months pregnant, was arrested. A 4-year-old girl taken, families separated, friends quite literally disappearing. In response, everyday Angelenos came out to exercise their constitutional right to free speech and assembly, to protest their government's actions. In turn, the state of California and the city and county of Los Angeles sent our police officers to help keep the peace. And with some exceptions, they were successful.
And I can't stress how important it is to take in the facts from the people actually involved with what's going on the ground and the timeline as to what transpired, not just get all your news from Trump who wants to politicize it or Fox News who wants to run something that isn't even true. ICE came and did more of their inhumane and largely unconstitutional arrests, as Gavin said, even grabbing a pregnant citizen, grabbing people and taking them from their families at Home Depot, often in mask and without mention of crime. I've quite literally never heard of a more justified thing to protest, which naturally can come with some bad apples who should be punished. But by all accounts, LAPD was handling it and doing just that. Some arrests were even made, but nothing too wild had happened prior to Trump's show of force wanting to federalize the National Guard, leading to escalations involving tear gas, rubber bullets, and more, as Gavin will get into. It's case in point for how this right-wing authoritarianism isn't the answer for anything.
What then ensued was the use of tear gas, flashbang grenades, rubber bullets. Federal agents detaining people and undermining their due process rights. Donald Trump, without consulting California law enforcement leaders, commandeered 2,000 of our state's National Guard members to deploy on our streets, illegally and for no reason. This brazen abuse of power by a sitting president inflamed a combustible situation, putting our people, our officers, and even our National Guard at risk. That's when the downward spiral began. He doubled down on his dangerous National Guard deployment by fanning the flames even harder. And the president, he did it on purpose. As the news spread throughout LA, anxiety for family and friends ramped up. Protests started again.
And this is where it's a good time to mention again, rioting is never okay. The looting, the attacking cops, damaging buildings, it's all wrong and illegal, and these people should be arrested and charged, right? Then, of course, pardoned by Trump, though, right? Oh, wait, he only does that with people attacking the Capitol for him. But no, the escalations do not excuse the action, but the context is important to understand, especially when people just want the talking points, which does kind of make it funny because the actions of Trump unnecessarily mobilizing troops escalated the violence. Both the right and left poll unfavorable of his deportations. Not a single Democrat is calling protesters to the street. Every single Democrat has condemned the violence, but the right wants so hard for this to be a Democrat riot to, of course, absolve themselves of the embarrassment of January 6th as much as they can. But the only connection would be, oh, it's LA, so it has to be liberals. Well, then that would make January 6th liberals because it's DC, but we know it's conservatives because Trump pardoned them and we see who they are.
He again chose escalation. He chose more force. He chose theatrics over public safety. He federalized another 2,000 Guard members. He deployed more than 700 active U.S. Marines. These are the men and women trained for foreign combat, not domestic law enforcement. We honor their service. We honor their bravery. But we do not want our streets militarized by our own armed forces. Not in LA, not in California, not anywhere. We're seeing unmarked cars in school parking lots, kids afraid of attending their own graduation. Trump is pulling a military dragnet all across Los Angeles, well beyond his stated intent to just go after violent and serious criminals. His agents are arresting dishwashers, gardeners, day laborers, and seamstresses. That's just weakness masquerading as strength.
I mean, it's just Democrats again having to show MAGA how to be the adults in the room. The overwhelming majority of LA protests have been peaceful. The small minority that have turned violent have been swiftly arrested and condemned by Democrats. And the main escalatory force is Trump's federal agents. Meanwhile, Trump allowed January 6th to happen as he sat back, then justified the act, still does, while pardoning the very criminals who beat cops. Who do you think handled them better, right? But of course, MAGA will spend the next 2 years trying to pretend, oh, the right doesn't riot, when the key difference is Democrats condemn violence on both sides while Republicans try to make talking points and excuses.